Welcome to another edition of Heart to Heart. I am your host, Elmira. I don't know why, but today I feel like I need to stretch a bit more. And after this broadcast, that's what I'm committing to. Because when I woke up this morning, I did my meditation. I just did not do my yoga yet. Like this week, I've committed to 5 days. Is it 5 days or 4 days? I can't remember. But either way, I committed. I wrote it down because I write it down every week, y'all. Because y'all know I'm all about the movement. I'm all about the self care. Hey, Joan, what's up? I committed to 5 days of strength training and I've already done two, and the week is not over yet. And I already know on Wednesday, I have, oh, thank you, Joan. Wednesday, I have not Wednesday, Saturday. What am I talking about? Because today is Wednesday. I'm all over the place. But either way, Saturday, I have a workout with my trainer, this lady that I follow on YouTube. Our guest today is Lawrence Harris. He should be here soon. I spoke to him earlier, but either way, hey Lawrence, what's up? I was talking about change and some shifts and changes. That's what we're gonna discuss. Change, like how does that work? Like when we have to deal with change in our lives, y'all know one of the things I'm always talking about is the changes that come after a breakup. So, and we know many
Yep.
changes come in life, especially in this season of winter. I was talking to my family yesterday and today. They're in Virginia. They've been dealing with change because the water is out in the whole city of
Oh,
Richmond
wow.
and surrounding counties. Yes, Lawrence, like they have no
Yeah,
water. It started
that's
yesterday. The city was like, right?
they might need to start boiling snow.
You said that's actually not a bad idea, but they don't have that much snow, is the thing, but they can boil whatever snow is
Yep.
there. How are you today?
Fantastic. A lot has happened.
What's happening? Because we're talking about change today, but
Right.
tell us what's changing in your life.
So, firstly, the last time I was on here was 2024. So, we've got a whole new year that's changed. And I personally believe that every year is like a chapter in the book that makes up your life. So far, I've been doing a lot of interviews for potential places that can hire me. I did a speech at a school earlier today. Um, and speaking of Virginia, I believe it was your sister who was a principal there.
Yes.
So reached out to her, and now we're gonna see where that takes me because life is just amazing. So
What
many great
makes it
changes.
so
Well,
what makes it so
so
amazing?
there's just so many changes that are happening. You know, today is today's January the 8th. 1 year ago today, I was working at a McDonald's, and now I'm a public speaker, changing people's life. I'm speaking at schools, and January 8th was the day when I started working at the last McDonald's I ever worked at.
Wow. Okay, so this we gotta celebrate because when synchronicities happen like this, I get elated.
Yes,
Like, so if this was January, imagine that. But it was your intention that said next January 8th, I'm not gonna be at McDonald's. I'm gonna be doing something else. And that's what you did today. You said you spoke at a school today?
yeah, it was a middle school. So typically, I focus on high school students, but I'm willing to talk to whoever's willing to listen. So, and these students, the thing that shocked me so much about them is that they're not your usual fifth graders. These are very advanced minds. We asked them the question of what is a boundary? What's a boundary to you? As
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship boundary, as in a friendship boundary you have with your family. Someone said, oh, a boundary is something that holds you down. And I never thought of it that way. And then it clicked that, oh yeah, boundaries such as you're being chained and bound. Boundaries are things that hold you down. Have you ever heard the phrase someone holding you down mentally?
Yeah, I have.
Like like in there's the negative way of, oh, they're holding me down and limiting me. But on the other side, they're holding me down, supporting me. They're there for me in my hardest moments.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing that I'm able to have an impact on people's life, regardless if they're young, older, whatever, it's beautiful. Because when I was working at McDonald's, something that often was this dilemma I had within myself was I want to help people, I want to see them do well, but I'm serving them the literal thing that is causing them the problem.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
it's like it's because you can make an excuse for it and say, oh, no, Lawrence, you're just doing your job. You're just making your money. But you're making your money off of the suffering of others. And now I'm making my money off of transforming people's lives to become better. And even though change of any kind, whether it's change for good or bad, there's pain that comes with that. There's the pain of growth and the pain of things becoming different.
Hmm. Why do you think our beliefs around change, you mentioned pain, because of course that could be a reason. Our beliefs around change are so, I'll just call it wicked. Like they're so wicked, they're so wrong because we don't want to change, we don't want to grow. Why is that?
Um, oh yeah, we got a comment right there. Change is unfamiliar and so uncomfortable. Well,
Hmm.
to build on top of that, it's a survival mechanism. So imagine when we were all still living in caves and running around and having to protect ourselves from wild animals. Any change in your environment could really be life or death. So if you today, now we have houses and we have homes and electricity. Nobody's getting attacked by bears. Very rarely. But when we didn't have safe homes and we were living out in the forest, if you change the location where your village is set up, you're running the risk of being attacked by a bear, even
Hmm.
though it's possible that there's better opportunity, there's better potential by changing something. You don't want to step out of that comfort zone because you know what's here. You know the people you grew up around. You know this town. You know your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa all made this amount of money. They went down this career path. So for you to go down any different path, any change of any kind, it's scary because it's unfamiliar. It's not what you're used to.
Hmm.
But a big problem is that sometimes we know we need to change. We know the thing we're doing is actively harming us, like smoking. We know smoking leads to lung cancer. We know that smoking leads to bad breath. It leads to your teeth rotting.
I
It
gotta
leads,
laugh at that, but it's so true. Like
yeah,
it's,
like
I'm sorry.
we know that there is no benefit whatsoever to smoking. But the reason why smoking cigarettes specifically is so hard to quit is it becomes so comfortable to you. Like it becomes so normalized. It becomes convenient. You can buy cigarettes anywhere. You can get them very easily. And the effects aren't immediate. It's very slow, but you get into this comfort of, oh, I can get away with it. It's fine, knowing that you need to stop. But you don't want the discomfort of giving up the thing that's made you sick.
Why do we say that though? This is a statement you just mentioned. I can get away with it. It's fine. Like I found myself doing that, especially over the holidays, and I was like, one more piece of cake ain't gonna help.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna hurt me. I can eat 10 more pieces of, and look where I am now. But I know where I am because I set a strict plan and I do my exercise and I got back on my eating pattern. But why do we say that? I can get away with it.
Well, part of it is because we've learned that in the short term, we can. In the short term, one slice of pizza is going to do you no bad. Like, one slice of pizza is perfectly fine. Enjoy your pizza. One burger, one piece of cake. But have you ever bought a pack of cookies and only ate one cookie?
No.
Now, you didn't go into it thinking, okay, I'm going to sit down and eat 20 cookies right now. But you think, one's not going to hurt. And if I can have one, then I can have two. That's not that bad. It's only two cookies. And then two turns to four. So it's a behavior that we learn that, oh, yeah, I can get away with it one time until that one time happens where you can't. Like driving without your seatbelt on. You can get away with it a couple times. You can even get away with it hundreds of times. But there's going to be one time where you can't get away with it.
Hmm.
Another part is that a lot of times we grow up seeing other people get away with it, and we think, oh, they can get away with it, I can too. So shoplifting is an example that I use all the time. You can get away with it one time, maybe a couple times. You've probably seen friends and family do it. You probably think, oh no, it's only like a $2 bottle of soda. Nobody's gonna care until eventually you build up a habit of doing this, and then you get caught, and you're not taking sodas. You're taking TVs and clothes and shoes, and now they're not charging you for shoplifting. They're charging you for stealing TVs.
Hmm. It's interesting you talk about this, Lawrence, because guess what I watched last night?
What?
Me and my boyfriend was watching Menace to Society. And that's exactly what I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. It's old, like
No, I
old,
haven't.
old. But in that film, that's exactly what happened to the main character. He believed his only lifestyle was stealing, was theft, because he grew up, I think it was Compton. It
Mm,
was Compton he grew up in. And in the throughout the course of the film, he was in the hospital. He was shot like 3 times. He should have died.
yeah,
But he died at the end of the film because he kept doing the same thing because he saw his father do it and everybody else in the community was doing it. And it, get this, he died that final shooting. He died as they were packing the vehicle because Jada Pinkett stars in this movie too. So they were packing the vehicle on their way to Atlanta because it change was coming, but he didn't get the chance to experience the
yeah,
change because of the mindset, because of the beliefs, because of who he was around. He thought like, oh, I gotta get it. But that movie is an excellent example of what can happen when we are afraid of change and what can happen when we see, you talked about the shoplifting. It made me think
yeah,
about it. We just see it and we're like, oh, everybody around me shoplifted, nothing happened to them, and then it just escalates.
yeah. And mentioning him stealing because he grew up in Compton. So some people steal out of necessity, like stealing food. Okay, if you grew up in a situation where you're starving, your mom and dad aren't in the household, so I don't know, maybe they're out on the streets or something. Um, you're in an orphanage. You're going through a situation where it's really life or death. Like
Mm-hmm.
you need to eat, so you steal food out of survival. Things like that. is out of a belief that, okay, I need to survive. That's just the base of that one. But when it comes to people who, like you said, are only doing it because, oh, this is what my mom and dad did. This is what my family did. This is what my friends did. So I'm going to do it too. Those are the ones where it's not justifiable. Since we naturally do what those around us will do, but at a certain point, we got to wake up and take accountability for our decisions. And when we take that accountability, because this is something I had to do,
Mm-hmm.
that's a painful process. I do not blame anybody or anything for anything whatsoever in my life. So when we're trying to change our life, when we're trying to change and go to that next level, make more money, lose weight, save money, buy a house, we have to take accountability for that. Like, okay, I want a different situation, but I keep ending up where I am. So what am I doing?
Yeah.
If I wanted to lose 50 pounds, but I'm always going to McDonald's, that's nobody's fault but my own. I can drive the car somewhere else. But
Yeah. It's
there's,
it seems simple, but sometimes it's not. Like you said it. You're like, why do I keep driving my car to McDonald's knowing I'm trying to lose 50 pounds?
yeah, that's when we have to look within ourselves at what's our truth. So on the surface, we can say anything. On the surface, we can say, oh, I make healthy decisions. We can say it. But our truth is, what are we operating as? What are we conducting ourselves as? If our inner truth and our inner belief is, I'm never going to lose this weight, no matter how much we say it, we're going to keep ourselves stuck because that's the system we're operating on.
How,
And
how do we
imagine,
know?
oh,
Quick question. How do we know what our inner truth or our inner belief really is?
just take a look at your life. Like, do not add emotion to it. Just look at the objective facts of your life. What is your health looking like? What are your relationships? How do you talk about yourself? How often do you take care of your body? So showering, haircuts, grooming, makeup, whatever. What places do you go? What kind of people do you hang around? What foods do you eat? How do you use your money? Do you have a savings account? Do you invest? Look at as many areas of your life as possible, and that's going to tell you your truth. Because we can say that, we can say anything. We can say, I'm a author. We can say that. But your truth is, are you really? Where's your book? Where's your blog post? Where's the draft? Where's your Amazon link? So your truth is simply the outside manifestation of what's really going on inside of you, not what you think, but the stuff that you don't even think about. Um, it's like, imagine a computer. What you see is the outward manifestation of the code. You see the website, but the truth that's running the website is the ones and zeros.
So we're like computers then.
Yeah, it's really shocking the more you think about it, because most people's decisions, we make about 80,000 decisions a day. The vast majority we don't even know that we make.
Hmm.
For example, we tie our shoes the exact same way every single time. That's a decision we make without thinking about it. Okay, how will I tie my shoes? I'm going to tie them with my left foot first, then my right foot. But we don't think about that. We just do it. So a lot of time we are like computers that are just running without thinking about what's actually going on. And the more we become aware of this, we can start to reprogram the computer to do what we want it to do.
Hmm. And to me, that's a high part of change. Reprogramming your computer, reprogramming your mind, reprogramming your heart to say, I want something different. Just because I always and it's funny you mentioned the shoe thing because I noticed this years ago with me putting on like when I wear pants, jeans or whatever. Like I always do the right um leg first. Why?
Yeah,
So I started switching it up. Soon as I noticed that, I was like, Elmira, why don't you put on the left? And it shifted something in me because I was like,
yeah,
I don't want to be a robot. I don't want to just do the same thing over and over again.
yeah. And the one of the hardest things to accept about that is the awareness that okay, the only reason I am where I am, doing what I'm doing, the way I do it, is because of me and because of the things I've allowed to affect me. So when we're born, we're just given a deck of cards. Some people get really lucky. Some people seem like they're really unlucky. We would say that the person who was born to a billionaire family, in terms of financial stability, has a much better deck than the person who was born to two homeless people. However, we also have to understand and be aware that comparison is the thief of joy in anything. If you had a bike and were riding your bike to work and you started comparing yourself to the person with the car, you forget the fact that it's a blessing to have legs. It's a blessing to not be bedridden. It's a blessing to not be brain dead. So to change, we have to first just stop, look around, look at, okay, what have I been getting? What do I actually want? How can I separate myself from that old world? And that's the hardest part, to break free of that old world.
What if you don't know what you want to change into? Because
Ooh,
I can remember back when you were speaking of losing weight earlier. And I just remember all I wanted to do was lose weight. And I had a vision. I knew, but some people don't know. I had a vision like I just want to get to a day where I can wear my sports bra outside and not worry about my belly hanging over. Like that was the
yeah.
vision. Well, what if they don't have, what if the person doesn't have a vision or a clear picture of what they want to change into? What's
Well,
your advice?
I would say figure out what you don't want,
Okay.
because the opposite of the thing that you do not want is the thing you want. For example, if you ask somebody, do you want to become really unhealthy, have terrible knee pain, um, you're you're 25 years old, but you have the body of a 70-year-old. Do you want that? No, I don't want that. So that means you want to be healthy. Whatever healthy means to you, that's for you to figure out, but now you have a direction to go. So if you don't know what you do want, figure out the bare minimum of what you don't. Because
Hmm.
I haven't gone to college and I don't plan to, but a lot of people have hard time figuring out what do I want to major in. What do I want to spend 4 years of my life learning about to get a degree in that thing and then go down a lifelong career in that field? What do I want to do? There's like 100,000 different options. Well, figure out what you don't want I do not want to become a mathematician. Now I know what I don't want. I'm in the direction of figuring out what I do want. And another good thing to try is looking at your life currently and figuring out the things you want to improve about it, such as I want to make more money. You don't need to figure out what number you want, just I want to make more money. I want to be able to afford a safer home. I
Hmm.
want to be able to afford a engine for my car because it keeps breaking down.
Yeah.
Now you have a direction you want to go. So if you don't know the end destination, just figure out what direction you want to go.
So change, what you're saying is change is a direction, like pointing yourself. We always think about like north, south, east,
Yeah.
west, like pointing yourself, okay, I want to go that way. Because the first step to a marathon is the first
Yeah.
step. I mean,
Yeah.
so you gotta take one step, because a lot of times with change, and I saw it with myself in business too. Like when I decided I want to be a millionaire, I wanted to be a millionaire right then and there, but I
Mm.
didn't. But I didn't.
Well,
But it's all about the steps.
yeah. Now, that brings me to another point about the whole truth thing. With your truth, that is simply the identity you have. Your inner truth is just your identity. The outer world is doing whatever it does, and it'll respond to that inner truth. So right now, it's not I want to be a millionaire. I am a millionaire.
Hmm.
It's just not in my bank account yet. It's on the way. Like you order something on Amazon, you figure out, okay, what do I want? Then you do the steps to get that thing, you order it, and then it's a while before it gets to you. But it's on the way. So I don't need to worry about it. I'm a millionaire. It's just not in my bank account.
Yeah.
I'm healthy. It's just not physically present yet. It's on the way though. And once you have the identity set there, you will naturally do things that get you closer to the result you want. So when you make the identity of I am healthy, I take good care of my body, you don't think that, but you believe it. It's your identity now. So naturally, you're going to suddenly find yourself walking a lot more.
Hmm.
You're just suddenly going to start thinking, huh, I should probably go to the gym. You don't even know why you feel like this. It's because of that identity inside of you. So the first step to change, well, the most important step to change is changing the identity. We all, every single person in the world wants a lot of money. Not every single person, but the vast majority. If you said, hey, do you want a lot of money? Like no strings attached. Do you want a lot of money? Yes. Okay. But are you the person capable of going from where you are now, making the change, getting the money?
Hmm.
If you're not the person capable of doing that, it's impossible because you can't get something that you are not. You cannot get a loving relationship if you're terrible to everyone in your life. It's just, you're not the person for that. But what you can get is somebody who's terrible back because you are what you will get and you will get what you are. So the secret to getting what you want is to become the person who is the thing you want.
Yeah, that can be tough though, because you have these visions and you're like, let's say it's about weight. You have the vision, like I was talking about with myself years ago. I'm like, I see myself in that sports bra. I ain't got no fat blubbing over, like I can walk around freely and all that. I saw that. But then I want to go to Chick-fil-A, or I want to go to
Mm,
McDonald's, or I want to go to Kroger and get some chocolate cake. Like, how do I, like,
all right.
yeah, it's small.
So with
It's like,
so with that, it's a matter of noticing it. So the vision we have is okay, I want to be able to walk around in my sports bra without the fat flopping over. That's the direction we want to go. But habits die hard. So you're gonna find yourself if you've always been eating McDonald's every day, at let's just say every day at 9 a.m. you drive to McDonald's, you get a Big Mac, fries, you drive to work. That is your routine. Like every day
mhm.
you've done this. Naturally, your mind starts to. It's like you have a clock inside of you that goes off and says, "All right, time for McDonald's," and
Yeah.
you're gonna find yourself at McDonald's. You don't think about it; it just happens. So we have to become aware of this and notice, all right, I'm saying I want to achieve this goal, but I'm actively doing something right now that's taking me out of that goal. I was at Planet Fitness yesterday actually, and you know how they have that jar of like candy there?
What on the they got it on the front desk.
Yeah.
I
The
got
reason
candy at Planet Fitness.
the reason for it actually makes a lot of sense for the business. If everybody lost weight, nobody would go to the gym. So we got to dangle a little piece of candy in front of them and put a really big jar so they take a handful, not just one piece. But I found myself munching on one piece. And as I'm doing this thing, I start thinking to myself, Lawrence, take your own advice. Do not swallow this candy. I went over to the trash can and spat it out because I knew if I
What?
let if I let one slide, one's gonna turn to two. And in a day, one piece of candy is not gonna cause a difference, but I might as well have two. And the next day it's probably gonna be three and then five, eight. I can take them home, to my sister. She loves candy. But if I'm gonna be on the train, I'm gonna eat some too. So I need to take like 15. So we need to become aware of, all right, remind yourself what is the thing you want, what the direction you want. If you want to become a millionaire, but you always find yourself gambling, you always find yourself spending money on pointless things, you always find yourself, um, I don't know, spending $500 on a pair of shoes that you don't need, you need to stop yourself and remind yourself that, hey, this isn't what I want. This isn't who I am. And over time, you're going to break those habits and then start to build the habits that will lead you to where you want to go.
That was an excellent instance of the Planet Fitness where you're like, I'm not even gonna swallow this candy. Yeah, I might have put it in my mouth, but y'all ain't gonna get me. Y'all
Yes,
not gonna get me today.
yeah, it's like a snowball. It's when you want to break a bad habit, you're pushing this boulder up a mountain, but there's this point where you're at the top of the mountain and you have all the bad side over here. Now
Mhm.
you're at the top of the mountain and you finally push that boulder over and it just zooms straight down into the good zone and it starts to pick up momentum of, okay, I've been going to the gym 2 days a week for the last year. All of a sudden, I'm going to push it up to three and then four and then five. But before you started, 2 days felt impossible. But you
Yeah, it
built
felt
that
like that
momentum.
boulder.
Yeah, you built the momentum. You got the boulder over the mountain, and now you're going 5 days a week for an hour and a half. Your bank account is growing because you've got a certificate or a degree that's leading to more money. You started your own business, and it was really hard at the start. You're trying to figure everything out, like payroll and taxes and LLC or S corp or what should I do? You got all these issues over here, but you get to the top and then boom, over time, you might end up a millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah, so is conquering that boulder because that's exactly what it feels. That's what I felt like. Speaking of workouts, that's what I felt like yesterday doing my strength training workout. That girl had me. I was doing push-ups. I had the weights. It was all arms and abs. I was like, okay, this
Yes,
is too much. But I challenged myself and I knew I could do it. And I'll say things like, okay, Elmira, you want the change. You want this body. You were the ones who ate all the cake over Christmas break, or you're the ones who ate the gingerbread cookies that your boyfriend made. You did it. Like, so what are you going to do? Like, I got to get back on track with my routine, with my eating, and with my workout plan. So yes, it challenges us, and it should. Change
yeah,
should challenge us. I was telling one of my massage tutoring students that yesterday, in terms of his studying, I was like, you should at some point, I told him, at some point you're going to hate studying for this test, and you should, because that's showing you're pushing yourself to the limit and you're not taking the easy road, because he's taken the test before and failed. You're not going to fail this time, and the
yes,
reason you're not going to fail this time is because you're pushing yourself over the limit. You got to push yourself just like you do when you go to the gym. And that piece of candy example, you push yourself and was like, I ain't eating it. Yeah, I could take some to my sister, my sibling, or this person, or no, I'm spitting it out.
yes, because with change, everybody wants the everybody wants the overnight success. Everybody wants the weight loss. Everybody wants the financial increase. They want the $1 million business. They want the house in Beverly Hills. They want this overnight transformation. But if you want to have a big transformation, it's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of hours studying, a lot of hours in that gym, working on that business, um, a degree if you decide you want to do something that requires it, like a brain surgeon. It's going to take a
Mm-hmm.
lot of effort. And just look at nature. So a tree is massive, it's strong, its roots are deep in the ground, it can handle a hurricane. But it started out as an acorn, about this big. Frogs, they start out as an egg and then they just completely reshape. Caterpillars, they melt their entire body down, sprout wings, and become unrecognizable. Did they do it overnight? No. They did a very long process of eating, building themselves up, going into that solitude, changing, reforming, breaking down, building back up, sprouting wings, figuring out how to fly, learning how to eat nectar. They had to learn all these new things, but from the outside looking in, we just see, oh, it was an egg, then it was a caterpillar, then it was a butterfly. From the outside looking in, somebody could, I'm going to use myself as an example. Somebody could say, oh my gosh, Lawrence is an 18-year-old author and public speaker and a coach, and he does all these great things at 18. It must have been overnight success. It was not. I wrote my first book at 12. I started public speaking at 15. And in reality, this has been a almost 6 year, yeah, actually had been 6 years of writing. It's been almost four of public speaking, and now it's getting big.
Yeah.
So everybody wants the result, everybody wants the end goal, but very few people are willing to stay committed to the entire process of breaking down who they were to become this new version. And the hardest part, in my experience, has been that sometimes, well, when you're growing and going to that next level, the old world calls you back.
Don't it?
Like, let's just use relationships as a great example. Okay, I want to become somebody who is in a healthy, loving situation. I want to date people who are business minded. I want to date people who are, they got themselves together. They don't need to be a billionaire or millionaire or runway model, but they take care of their mind, body, soul, and spirit. That's what I want. However, one day, that phone start ringing. Them old friends used to hang with, they like, hey man, come on, let's go back to the club. Let's go. Oh, you remember an old girl from down the block? Oh, and the old world calling you. But you know that you want to go to this new world. You want to go to that person who is loving, supportive, got their life together. But one day, them people you used to hang with, they start calling you back. And you're going to have to block some numbers. You're going to have to block numbers without even telling them you blocked them.
Wow.
You're going to have to cut off blood family members, friends that you had since elementary school. You're going to have to cut them off because you cannot go to the new world while entertaining the old world. And that's hard.
Now, did you have to cut some people off? Because, like you said, you've been on this path since you were 12. Like, you knew.
Oh, yeah. Like, when I was 13, I cut off, like, easily, like, 50 people.
What?
Long story short, they were family members who aren't bad people, but they did bad things and weren't aligned with the path I was going down. Mm-hmm. So I knew that if I want to go, improve my life, improve my mental health, because at that time of my life, I was just all over the place. Life felt chaotic. But I knew that in order for me to better myself and become the person that, I can look into the mirror and be proud of, I got to leave the old world in the past. And during that time, that phone started ringing. That phone started ringing. That people were like, dang, Marshall, why you don't come around no more? Why don't talk to us? And I'm like, if I told you, you wouldn't even believe it. I care about you. I want to see you eat, but I don't want to see you eat at my table. I want you.
That's hard.
Yeah, like I've been hearing this phrase so much and it resonates really deep because I don't hold anger or hatred towards anybody. Even the people who, if I told someone what they did, they'd be like, oh, it's completely justifiable to hate them. I don't even hold hatred against the worst of the worst people I've met. Because at the end of the day, it serves no good to hold energy in the past. Like, imagine you're mad at someone who's dead. And you're never getting that apology. You're never getting that closure because they're dead. So when we are going to this new world, when we're trying to evolve and grow, mentally, you have to imagine the old world is dead. The old world is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And let's say when that phone start ringing, you decide you're gonna go back. You're gonna dip your toes back in that old world. Now,
can't do it.
Yeah, you can't do it. And if you do, it's gonna come back 10 times harder because now you know what's on the other side. You shouldn't be living like this. Back when you was, I'm just gonna use the example that a lot of people who might be watching this might, if the shoe fits, the shoe fits. Back when you was popping bottles and just living reckless and just wilding out, you could live like that because you didn't know what was on the other side.
Yeah.
But now once you're, you cleaned up your life, you got sober, you got healthy family and friends, good relationships. If you go back to that old world, if you go back to how you used to live, you can't, because you know how bad it really is now. And that's why in groups like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, one of the biggest things they tell you to do is cut off everybody who you used to be friends with,
Mm.
who, well, not all your friends, but all your friends who were participating in the activity. Because all it takes is your friend to say, hey, man, let's go out for drinks. Because, y'all always do that. So it's not odd for them to say, hey, let's go out for drinks. But if you know that you want to quit that, you like, no more, never ever again, you got to cut off all them friends you went drinking with unless they change too. And you can't make them change. You can't tell them to. They have to want to change, and they have to want to go on the same path as you, or inevitably, they're going to bring you right back to that old world.
Have you noticed some of those people have come back into your life because they've embraced the change you made?
Mm. Yeah, I have had a few, but those were people who were like friends of mine, and it wasn't anything major. We just had like a slight disagreement about how they were living, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, you got to clean this up. Like, I see the path you're going down. I'm not liking it. You got to clean it up or you got to go. And they got upset. They went, but then eventually came back and was like, hey, man, I listened to what you said. My life got better. And people like that, that's a situation where you have to use your own discernment. Since some people get themselves right for a week, some people get themselves right for a month, but then there are people who really got themselves right and in order. However, there are certain situations where no matter how much that person changed, no matter how much they improved and how better they got, you can't let them back at your table. You're not
Hmm.
holding a grudge against them for the past and what they once did. You are just saying that, hey, I don't want to reopen that wound. I've healed from it, you've healed from it, but let's not even take the chance of opening the wound again. Because imagine somebody come back into your life after a couple years. I don't know what you got into in those couple years. I don't know what you've been up to, because that's something that a lot of people have gone through, and it's led to their life being taken. Because when when there's snakes creeping in your grass, they don't start hissing until they're about to strike. They act all friendly and sweet and kind and be like, oh, you can trust me. That was in the past. And then before you know it, they end up being the one to take you out because they were plotting from the sidelines.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't need them snakes now.
yeah, like that's what. Have you ever heard of the rapper Nipsey Hussle?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to him. He went back to his old neighborhood and was giving out clothes because he used to do that. Like, he was helping out the people. He was always somebody like that. But what ended up happening was he started hanging around some old friends, old people, went back to the old world, and it ended up being catastrophic for him. So that's why a lot of people need to just kind of get out of their hometown. They need to leave the old world in the past physically. Like you need a whole fresh start sometimes.
It works because that's what I did back in 2011. I left my hometown of Virginia, in Virginia, and then I moved to Nashville. And that was, to me, the best decision I ever made. Because in the beginning, and it started with okay, I want to make a change. Like I had been through a breakup like a year and a half prior to that, and I had always thought I want to move to Nashville. I want to see what it's like. Like I had done a semester of college there, went there once to try out for American Idol, and was like, now is my opportunity. Let me do this, and I did it. Went solo. As a matter of fact, like my cousin was supposed to travel with me on the initial trip. He couldn't make it. And then it was like, I still got to go. Like, it
That's
was hard. Like, it was definitely an emotional challenge knowing I had to leave these people behind, leave this familiarity behind. But I'm so thankful I did it. It's what helped me lose weight. It's what helped me love myself even more. It helped grow my business. It helped just grow me entirely, help me see who I really am outside of the confines of, you talked about it earlier. Everybody's doing this. Like I see my family doing this, eating this, going to this church, doing these habits. I didn't want to just duplicate the habits.
yeah.
I wanted to create my own way.
It's kind of like to a lot of people, and even for myself, before I went through the process, it's like unplugging your life support because you
Oh,
because you know that what you've done so far has gotten you here. If you keep doing what you're currently doing, you're going to stay where you are. But you have to have so much faith that you can be hooked up on life support and you unplug it knowing that either I'm going to like survive, I'm going to overcome this. I'm no longer going to be held back to this old world and where I am now, or I'm going to fail catastrophe. Like it's going to be terrible. But you have to make that leap because
mm-hmm.
you'll only know if you try. So far, I have invested nearly 10, maybe like $3,000 to $4,000 into public speaking, and that's just off of purely direct things, not books, not
Right.
including seminars I went to, not including events I've hosted. We're just talking about material, thousands and thousands of dollars. And every time I spent that money, I had to know in my heart that either this is going to work out or it's going to work out. There's no in between. Because
Mm-hmm.
when we allow room for there to be a possibility, when we allow there to be a, a glint of doubt and fear in our biggest decision, things are going to go south. I like to imagine it as just making a fresh restart. You want to just completely rechange everything in your life. And a few years ago, I learned an interesting fact about the Vietnam War. A lot of the soldiers who went over there, they were going through like a lot of PTSD, seeing people getting blown up and stuff. So a lot of them ended up resorting to heroin to, calm themselves down. Normally, the rate for people to quit heroin is like 8%. However, when they came back, about 95% of them just quit cold turkey immediately because now the stimulus is gone. The world where they did this is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So when you remove the old world, you remove the old behavior, the old ways of living. Because if you were somebody who smoked and now you have no way possible of getting cigarettes, you're just going to quit because you can't. But if you went somewhere like a city and you can walk within 5 blocks of any city and find a smoke shop or find a place that sells cigarettes. So if you really, really want to quit something, if you really want to break a habit, change your life, elevate your mind, body, spirit, improve relationships, make more money, whatever it is, you got to take a good look at your life, just look around and observe everything. That's going to tell you what you've been doing has led you to this point. That's what you're operating on. If you want to change your operating system, you got to make some big changes. Like you said, that could mean moving to a whole different state. That could mean cutting off all your friends. It could mean cutting off family. Some people need to cut off their parents. That might mean breaking up, getting divorced. That
Yeah.
might mean selling everything you own and living on a couch for a year so that you stop buying stuff out of materialism and start to appreciate what really matters in life. It might mean just doing things that are so outside of the norm that they force you to change. Like if you're really shy, like you are terrible at talking to people, if you have the means to do this, go live in a different city for a week. You're going to force yourself to talk to somebody because
Yeah, you're going to have to.
because you don't know where the restaurants are, you don't know where the hotels are, you don't know where anything is. You have to muster up the courage to say, "Hello, where's McDonald's? Where's the hotel? Where's the hospital?" You're going to force yourself to make a change. And we often start to get mad at ourselves because, oh my gosh, I don't I feel like a terrible person. I feel undisciplined. I feel lazy. Well, just force yourself to do the thing that you need to do. If you
Mm-hmm.
have to if you have to finish reading a book, and it's something that I've done too, I would notice I spent way too much time playing video games.
Yeah.
So about 7 months ago, I took the TV out of my room and put it in the basement closet.
Oh, you put it in the
In
closet?
the basement. So
That's
because
far away.
that's the point. Because in order to use my own TV, I would have to get up out of my room, walk downstairs, walk all the way through the house to the basement, unlock the basement door, go down there, walk to the back of the basement, go to the basement closet, open that, carry a TV out of the basement upstairs into my room, plug it in without dropping it. It's
Mm-hmm.
so much effort that in the 7 months that I've done that, I haven't watched TV in my room at least.
Right.
I would watch TV, in the living room, but I can only do that when I have access to the living room TV. So now I almost never watch TV because I can't. So when you want to break a habit, such as scrolling on your phone late at night, that's something that a lot of people can relate to. Charge your phone on the complete opposite side of your bedroom.
Yes.
You can't lay in bed and scroll if your phone is all the way
And my
across the
phone
room.
all the way over there.
Yeah, I know some people who they charge their phone in a different room.
I do that. I do that too.
So, if the phone starts ringing or even that, put it on do not disturb when you're sleeping. Because if it rings, you're going to start to think, oh, what if it's my mom and it's an urgent thing? It's possible that that's the case. But 99% of the time, it's probably just your friend texting you something irrelevant. But if you
Mm-hmm.
don't even, if you can't even hear the ring in the first place, you're not even worried about it. If you don't even
Yeah, because
see,
what's out of sight is out of mind.
yeah, that's the whole point in why when we're making big changes, we need to take big action. Because if you don't have a TV, you can't watch TV. If if you want to quit drinking, but you have absolutely no way of getting alcohol, you're just going to quit because you can't indulge in it. And at a certain point in time, you're going to start to think, it was nice, but is it worth throwing up in a toilet again? Is it worth it? Like,
Mm-mm.
I've been trying to quit this for 7 years. Is it worth me going back for just one time of fun, risking putting myself back through 7 more years, is it really worth it? No, it's not. I really would love, a nice, juicy quarter pounder with bacon and cheese and jalapeno peppers. But is it really worth the potential of, my organ getting messed up? And even though one burger won't do it to you, it's still all that grease is inside of your body. Is it worth it? So
It's not.
sometimes, yeah. So sometimes when you want to make change, when you want to change a bad habit, you need to make the bad habit as hard to do as possible and make the good habit as easy as possible because your brain naturally does the least resistant things. If you sat somebody down and gave them the option of watching a 5 hour video on the history of Egyptian pyramids or the option of going to a party, they're picking the party every time. However, if you gave them the option of watch that same 5 hour documentary, and it's very boring, like so boring, or you tell them that you have to watch this documentary or run 5 miles in the rain shirtless, they're watching documentaries because running outside is so hard.
Yeah.
Now all
And
the
the rain shirtless too.
Yeah. Now they start thinking, do I want to be bored for 5 hours or do I want hypothermia, my body to be sore, potentially, get a flu and now my whole life messed up. Now, by doing the thing that is the easiest, watching documentary, they became a whole historian.
Hmm.
And something I've been using as well is when I wanted to change my, improve my mental health, improve how I felt about myself, become proud of who I am, one of the things I did was make a list of non-negotiables. We have so many in a job setting or in school, we have all these rules that we follow to a T. We follow them without fail, but we don't put those rules in place for ourselves.
Yes,
Not
that's what I'm always preaching.
and
Yes, got to make them for
not
yourself.
yeah, and not to restrict you in a bad way, but to restrict you from doing bad things. Like
Hmm.
if you say, "Oh, I just don't drink, I just don't smoke," there's no room for wavering. It's not, "Oh, I only drink on the weekends," or
Yeah.
"I only smoke on Tuesday." No, we need to have non-negotiable. And one of the non-negotiables I had with myself was every day I have to write in a diary. Every
Mm.
single day. I had to write about what happened. I had to write about what I thought, what I did, and it keeps me accountable because you have to look down and physically see in 24 hours, here what I did. 24 hours, here what I did. Okay. 8 hours of that, I was asleep. 8 hours of that, I was at work. Now, in the 8 hours that you really had free, what happened? Well, I was driving to work, doing what? Listening to music. How about instead you put on an audio book and every week you'd finish a book? Because you're driving, you might as well just, instead of playing music, play an audiobook.
Yep.
So now, at the end of that day, you can write down, I went to work, I slept well, I ate, I read an audiobook, I learned something, I did all these things. So when we don't have any non-negotiables, we're kind of like a dog off a leash. It'll just run wherever the ball gets thrown. Your attention is going every which way, and that leads you to get distracted from the path. Because when you mentioned earlier, oh, I want to lose this weight, but I'm always eating cake. when the non-negotiable could have prevented that. Okay, I don't eat sugary foods. I don't eat cake. I make healthy decisions. I don't drink soda. It's not, oh, I want to quit. I want to stop. Because saying I want to implies that you aren't already.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes to me and they say, oh, Lawrence, I want to quit this bad habit. I want to quit scrolling on my phone. I tell them, just say, I don't do that. Every time you feel the urge to go to that McDonald's and get that Big Mac, I don't eat fast food. I don't do it. Now you got two options. Either you can stick to your word and say, I don't do that, so you stop and you don't do it. Or you say, I don't do it, then you go and do it, and afterwards, you start to look at yourself and go, Lawrence, you're a liar. No one needs to say it to you. You're going to say it to yourself. Because,
Yeah, gotta be honest.
yeah, because how can I say that I don't eat fast food while I have a Big Mac in my hand? No, I'm busy right now. You can't, you have to be honest with yourself, and you're going to hold yourself accountable simply by saying that you don't do something and then going ahead and doing
Yeah. Yeah, that's big. I think we had a good conversation about change today, especially changes you've been able to make, changes I've made, and helping people really understand how they can approach change, what they can say to themselves, having those non-negotiables, all kinds of stuff. Understanding where is it I really want to change my life, what specifically
it. Yeah.
everything. Are
And
there any final words you have as we wrap up this
I
session?
would say that this just came to me. Saying I want to change into something, that implies a dead end.
Hmm.
So, okay, I want to change into a millionaire. Let's just say $5 million. Okay, so you get to $5 million, and then what? You hit a dead end. You're a millionaire now. Now you're at a dead end. And that's not to say that, oh, you should just pursue more and more and more and more. No, that is greed. What I'm saying is constant evolution. Where you are right now is not the end. So if you had 5 million yesterday and tomorrow you have $5,000,001, you're growing. You're becoming. You
Mm-hmm.
haven't hit a dead end. You're becoming financially free. You are becoming the person who is going to leave a lasting impact on the generations to come. Because when we get so focused on me, and my, we there's a dead end to our life. There's a dead end when we're not making to 150. That's just not happening. However, when we think of what am I becoming, I'm becoming a role model to the community.
Hmm.
So we're constantly growing and evolving into that position. We're constantly making an effort to grow. I'm becoming someone that my great, great, great grandkids will know about. I'm becoming something that isn't limited. So to clarify that, when we want to change, okay, of course, we need a direction. We need to know where are we going, but we also need to know that the thing we have in our mind right now isn't the end. If you thought, I want to be an author, I'm going to make a book. Okay, now you've set a dead end of one book. But if you say, I'm constantly becoming a better author, it's unlimited. You can make as many books as you want.
Hmm.
You can make
Yeah.
the book as long as you want. You can make it as many subjects as you want. So, of course, grow, change, evolve, but don't put a dead and just change for one thing, become, evolve, and constantly grow. That would be my closing remark right there.
You put an exclamation point on that, and what I wrote is like one statement I'm going to start saying. I've said something similar, but I create great things daily. It's not that, oh, I'm going to create this book or I'm going to create this song or
Yeah.
this album, this business. No, I'm always creating. I create great things daily because I'm a creator.
Yes,
Like,
and that's something that that was something that a few months back I gave a speech to a church, and I emphasized that point because regardless of people's religious beliefs, regardless of their spiritual beliefs, whatever, we can just look at a biological perspective and say that you can create, assuming that you're not infertile, you can create a
mhm.
life. You can
Yeah,
create an entirely new being. So if you can create a new living being, that means you can create a new life, a better life for the being in the mirror that you have full control of.
hmm.
I I cannot control what anyone else does except me. I cannot create a life for somebody else except the life that I create for me, and I let them be a part of that. So every day we are creating great things. It could be a great thing we can create is making somebody happy, putting a smile on someone's face, giving the homeless man some food, um, telling your friend that you care about them, um, posting a song, writing a blog post, doing this podcast, um, cooking for your family.
Yeah.
Every day we create great things. You don't need to create the next rocket ship. You don't need to create the next Apple. You don't need to create the next multi-platinum album. If you're an artist, a musician, if you created a song, created a painting, created a sketch, even created an idea in your mind, you just created something great.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Well,
Yeah.
y'all heard it right here on Heart to Heart. This is Lawrence Harris. Make sure you are following him, his website. Your website is lawrencecharris.com, correct?
Yup, it's my name. If you look up Lawrence C. Harris, it's going to pull up just Lawrence C. Harris. It's going to pull up my website, my Amazon link to my books, my
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, my LinkedIn, my Instagram. All of them are connected by Lawrence C. Harris.
Yeah, because y'all need to follow him for motivational messages. Hire him because you're
Yes.
booking for 2025, you're booking for 2026. Schools, organizations, nonprofit, everybody across the nation, across the
Yep.
world. Because
Yep.
shoot, if they're willing to pay for your travel,
Hey,
I mean,
send me that router number and let's talk some business.
this is what I'm talking about. Get that money,
Yes.
make that
I,
change, like
I
actual.
will. I'm going to change their life and I'm going to put some change into my bank account.
That's what I'm talking about. Change equals change.
I'm going to write that down. Change equals
Yeah,
change.
because it is. It does. It leads to money. You make it because we started out this conversation talking about last January you was at
Yes.
McDonald's. Like in this January, you're a public speaker. So you already made the change because it's like the my cousin loves this song, Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. But the song says, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Who's me? Like I got to make the change. Like I got to analyze what am I doing? What have I done? What actions have I been taking? And it's my fault. Like it's literally my fault. And if I need to make the change.
Of course.
All right. Until next time. Bye, everybody. This has been another edition of Heart to Heart. Bye.
Bye.